Welcome again to this channel. In our last class, we have discussed about the formation of Constituent Assembly, in which we discussed about the strength of Constituent Assembly and elections of Constituent Assembly, Cripps mission proposal, and cabinet mission plan. And in this class, we will discuss about the working of the Constituent Assembly, which is very crucial and important. After the election for Constituent Assembly, the Constituent Assembly of India was founded on 6th December 1946, and the first meeting was on 9th December 1946, and in this meeting the members of Muslim League boycott to this meeting. Therefore, the meeting was attended by only 211 members because members of princely states also decided to stay away from the Constituent Assembly, and the most important Muslim League members are participate in the process of election, but they boycott the meeting for the with the demand of a separate state, that is Pakistan. And Dr. Sachidananda Sinha, who was the oldest member of Constituent Assembly, was elected as the temporary president of the Constituent Assembly. And later, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the president of Constituent Assembly, and there are two vice presidents, H.C. Mukherjee and V.T. Krishnamachari. And after this, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru on 13th December 1946 moved a historic objective resolution in Constituent Assembly, which formed philosophy of the constitutional structure, and its modified version formed the preamble of the Constitution of India. This resolution was unanimously adopted by Assembly on 22nd January 1947. Okay. And in these objective resolutions, there are some basic features and basic themes. What are they? Now, India should be a independent, sovereign, and republic state, and independent India shall be the union of British India, Indian states, and other territories who are willing to join with India. They may be outside from India, but if they are want to join with India, they can join. And all power and authority of government are derived from the people, and also it is secure and guaranteed to the people justice, equality, and freedom. Justice, social, economic, and political status, equality of status of opportunity, and equality before law, freedom of thought, expression, belief, etc. Also, it has committed to provide adequate safeguards for minorities, backward and tribal areas, and depressed class and other backward class, and also work for the integrity and sovereignty of the territory. And India also work to promote the world peace and welfare of mankind. There are some changes occurred by the Independent Act. After the acceptance of Mountbatten Plan for the partition of India, the representatives from the princely state gradually joined to the Constituent Assembly, and members of Muslim League from Indian Dominion also joined to it, and members from the Muslim League from Dominion of Pakistan withdrew from the Constituent Assembly of India. Therefore, the total strength of Constituent Assembly come down to 229, and The strength of Indian provinces, which are previously known as British provinces, was reduced to 229, and seats of princely state was reduced to 70. And also, assembly became a fully sovereign body which could frame any constitution as it wished, and it also became a legislative body which became the first parliament of free India. When this body met as a constituent body, it was chaired by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and when it met as a legislative body, it was chaired by G.V. Malvankar. Some other functions performed by Constituent Assembly. It ratified India's membership in Commonwealth nations in May 1949. National flag was adopted on 22nd July 1947, and on 24th January 1950 it adopted our national anthem and national song, and on the same day it elected Dr. Rajendra Prasad as the first president of India. There are some other important informations about Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly take 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to make constitution, and it had total 11 sessions, and constitution makers studied about 60 countries constitutions. Total expenditure was 64 lakhs, and on 24th January 1950 it held its final session, and later it was worked as a provincial parliament. Drafting committee published the first draft of constitution in the month of February in 1948, and it gave 8 months to public for their comments, criticism and suggestions on it. And on the basis of these comments, criticisms and suggestions, the drafting committee published the second draft of constitution in October 1948. And after this, the final draft of the constitution presented or introduced by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar in the assembly on 4th November 1948. The assembly had a general discussion on it for 5 days. That means till the November 9, from 4th November to 9th November, first reading. Then second reading started on November 15, 1948 and end on 17th October 1949. In this period, there is detailed discussion about every one clause and every provisions of the constitution. And in this period, total 7653 amendments were proposed, but only 2473 were actually discussed in this reading or in this period. And after that, third reading was started on 14th November 1949, and in this period Ambedkar moved a motion the constitution as settled by the assembly be passed. This is the name of motion, and the motion on the draft constitution was declared as passed on the 26th November 1949 and received signature of 284 members out of 299 members and the president. Clear? The constitution was adopted on 26th November 1949 with a preamble and 8th schedule and 395 articles. After the enactment of the constitution, some provisions such as election, citizenship, provincial parliament come into force with immediate effect, and rest of the part of constitution come into force on 26th January 1950. Why we choose the date 26th January 1950? Because in 1930, on this day, we celebrate Purna Swaraj Day. That's why our constitution makers decided this day for the enforcement of the constitution. There are some criticisms to Constituent Assembly. First one, it was not a representative body because members of Constituent Assembly were not elected by the people of India. It was not a sovereign body because it recommendations of British government for its sessions. It was very time consuming because it takes 2 years, 11 months and 18 days file American constitution prepared within 4 months. Nasiruddin Ahmad called it a drifting committee. It was totally dominated by Indian National Congress, which was criticized by Austin. Some also criticized it as lawyer and politicians' paradise, and it was also dominated by them. Lord Simon called it a body of Hindu because almost uh, most of the members are belong to Hindu communities. Some important facts: elephant was adopted as seal and symbol of Constituent Assembly. B.N. Rao was legal and constitutional advisor of Assembly. Iyengar was the secretary to Assembly. S.N. Mukherjee was chief draftman of Constitution. Prem Bihari Narayan as the calligrapher of original Constitution. It was handwritten by him in italic style. Original Constitution was beautified and decorated by the artist from Shanti Niketan, especially Nandalal Bose and Ram Manohar Sinha. Ram Manohar Sinha beautified the preamble of Constitution. Hindi version of Constitution was calligraphed by Basant Krishna Vaidya and decorated by Nandalal Bose. Within Constituent Assembly, there are some committees which have to perform separate functions, but we have discussed only few major committees. uh, Union Power Committee, Union Constitutional Committee, and State Committee, Committee for Negotiation with States, were chaired by Jawaharlal Nehru. And Rule of Procedure Committee and Steering Committee was chaired by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. And Provincial Constitutional Committee and Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights were chaired by Sardar Patel, and a drafting committee was chaired by Ambedkar, which was the most important committee of Constituent Assembly. Now, our topic for working of the Constitution is, and if you want more clarity on drafting committee and advisory committee, then you should write in the comment section. Then I will upload short videos on that. And if you are new to this channel, then subscribe to this channel for new updates, and you must like and comment and share with your friends. Thank you.